Hey everyone, Cody from Mac Telecom Networks. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Unifi Design Center once again. They have changed quite a bit on their UI interface. Usually Ubiquity does a release note for new changes for the Design Center, but I didn't see them and I logged in yesterday and it was completely different. I have a project coming up which we've already done in Design Center before for a 7th floor that is going to be a common shared workspace. But that's what we're going to do in the Design Center today, and I'll tell you what I'll be doing in the future video for an on-site job. If you'd like to hire me for network consulting, visit my website at mactelecomnetworks.com. I have a Discord server and we also have affiliate links in the description below. The first thing that we need to do to get into Design Center is to log in with our Ubiquity account. If you don't have one, you could create it. So I'm going to log in and then we'll see the differences right off the bat. Now this is going to look completely different to you if you haven't logged into Design Center anytime recently. We can see here we have our projects up at the top, but then we have this quick design. So it's a rapid deployment of unified devices. We can see that we have our core Unifi technology. If we click on that, it's going to show us a few things. It's going to show us our port availability, the PoE availability, but we don't have any switches in there currently. We could expand the core Unifi technology if we click here. We could put the LTE, internet backup, redundant power supply, or additional switching capacity. For this project coming up, we're going to have about 200 different ports, and we're going to be using all enterprise switches. So let's do the additional switching capacity. Now, all 200 ports on this job site won't be active, but we've already purchased 4 enterprise 48 PoEs. So let's go ahead and add that in. Now, since we're adding 4 different switches, we don't want to daisy chain them together. We're going to be adding the high capacity aggregation switch, even though this has, I think, 32 ports and we won't be using them all. In the future, if we want to expand out to the building, we could use this switch. Now we're done with the switching capacity. We could add cameras, door access, and phones. We will be adding cameras into this location. So we'll be putting in 7 G5 domes. We won't be putting in any professionals, so we'll take that off. But you can choose between different camera models. Now, right on Design Center, you could specify how many days you need of recording, and it's going to tell you that you need an estimate storage of 24 terabytes if we're trying to do 30 days, and I'm going to confirm. Now that we've added the cameras in, we could either view it on the floor plan or we could generate the shopping list. Let's first take a look at the shopping list and then we'll add a floor plan in. At the top, we could see that I'm in Canada. We have the Dream Machine Professional, which we may switch out for the SE. And then we have our switches, we have our camera, and it's telling us some other accessories that we should use. Now, if we click on checkout, it will bring us to the store. A new thing within Canada, we do now have UI care, which is great. So you could extend the warranties on some of the devices if you'd like. One thing I forgot to add to this build was our access point. So we could click on Wi-Fi and we're going to be using the enterprise access points. Currently, we only have 4 of them, but we are going to do a pre-build scan, a Wi-Fi scan, to see how many we need. So I'm going to click on access point model and we're going to scroll down to the enterprise access point. Here, we're going to select 4 of them and then press add. The top, we're going to deselect all of these. And now we'll switch it to square feet. And you can see that this should cover up to 6,000 square feet. And we're going to press confirm. If you'd like to start your project over, in the left-hand corner, we have this start over. But we're going to add this now to a floor plan. So we could see view project on floor plan. And we could either draw it in using a tool or we could upload a plan, which I'm going to do. Now, most of this will probably look familiar to you. We need to set our reference line length and then the ceiling height. So I'm just going to grab this and put it in a doorway. Our typical doorways here in Canada are about 3 feet wide. And then this ceiling height is going to be 10 feet. Now, all of our actions, it has moved over to this right-hand side. So we could see our Wi-Fi coverage. We could also see our camera coverage. And we could show legend, show ports, floor plan rotation, and then a couple other things. I'm going to bring the icon size of our devices up to the max, just so that we could see it on the floor plan. To the right of it, we have where we draw our rooms or our walls. Then we have our cabling, and then we have our draw cable route, which I will do. The first thing I need to do, though, is to draw the walls, so we'll be right back. Now, the majority of these walls are now drawn in. Before we do cable routes, we need to place the dated jacks, but we're going to first place our devices. So we'll click on devices, and that first step that we did by adding the cameras and the access points, they're showing down below. We have this existing 24U comm rack, which we'll be using a 42U, but we'll place it in the telephone room. And the telephone room is going to be right here. So I'll click on there, and then we're going to start grabbing some cameras. These cameras aren't going to be exact location right now. I'll just do it for this video, but we'll click on it, and then I'll just start placing. We have 7 out of 7 cameras added to the floor plan. Now we need to put our access points, which are access points. These aren't going to be exact locations either, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. If you want to add more devices to the floor plan after your initial setup, you could go to all devices, and they have added quite a bit of new things. Under the Unifi Cloud Gateways, we can now see the Dreamwall, the UDR, the Cloud Key Enterprise, if anybody is using that, and the Gateway Professional. Under the cameras, we could pretty well see everything that Ubiquiti offers. So all the G5 line, the AI Bullet, the AI Professional, the AI DSLR, the AI 360. They've also added the new generation of access readers, and we do now have some phones on here, which is great. But for now, this is all that I'm going to be using. But what we need to do now, we need to add some cabling connectors. We're going to be using 2 times RJ45. We'll be adding 2 RJ45s at each one of these little triangles, which represent a data drop. I'm going to add those in, and we'll be right back. All the data drops have been added to the floor plan, and you can see that we have 82 2-port receptacles. So now we could do our draw cable route. What this cable route will do, when we click on auto cable, it will put it all through the routes, and it will show us an estimate of how much cable we need. So this is the telephone room here, and you could go whichever way you'd like. We'll say we're going all the way across, we're going down, and then into the telephone room where the rack is. Now, if we go over to the auto cable, it will show us where all the cables will route through. My cable routes aren't perfect. As you can see that the U6 Enterprise here is going to be 522 feet. So we're not going to want to take that path, as Ethernet could only go up to 100 meters, but you get the point of how Unifi Design Center could help you with this. Before I go and install all of the equipment, I'll be using the NetAlly AirCheck G3, and I'll be putting an AP on a stick to do some testing to see how many access points we're actually going to need. I'll also be using this unit for WiFiStan.com, which provides us some power for our access points, and I will be doing a full video on that. And that's going to be it for this video on the new Unifi Design Center, and I do like all the changes that they've made. The interface feels a lot snappier than it used to when we're drawing walls. It doesn't seem as laggy. If you have any questions about this video, please leave it in the comments below. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button. If you're new here, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. All right, thanks.